Maki. In the Gundam Seed series, one of the key characters is Gilbert Duano. He is a character who appears from Seed Destiny and is likely to appear in the movie Seed Freedom. In the final battle of Seed Destiny, he lost his life. Logically, he would appear in the movie in the form of flashbacks. Of course, in the world of the Seed series, there's also an astonishing technology known as carbon human that can pseudo-resurrect the dead. Whether Duano's appearance will be limited to flashbacks is unclear at this point. Moreover, he is famously voiced by Shuichi Iketo, a significant voice actor in the Gundam series. He first appeared in the original Gundam, voicing the popular character Char, who strongly supported the popularity of the Gundam series. Indeed, Gilbert Duano's presence is significant not just in the story, but also to Gundam fans. Let's analyze what kind of actions Gilbert Duano took. Interestingly, he shares some commonalities with Char. Gilbert Duano is the Supreme Council Chairman of Front, a nation of coordinators. He also holds a position akin to the highest commander for Zaft, Front's military force. In the latter part of the Seed Destiny story, he attempted to implement a plan known as the Destiny Plan. This plan aimed to create a peaceful world by analyzing and managing human aptitudes through genetics. It's a plan that seems to lead to the creation of a dystopian society, as depicted in many works of fiction. It's a kind of peace that stifles people's freedom, hope, and potential for development, creating a society that seems lifeless. However, observing the relentless destruction and slaughter perpetrated by the massive organizations in the Seed series, the Destiny Plan can also be seen as a viable option to avoid the worst outcomes. Many viewers may perceive Chairman Duano as a person who presented an option prioritizing the survival of humanity while avoiding the worst outcome of extinction. Indeed, the idea of saving humanity through the Destiny Plan is not entirely false. Duano's lament over the tragic fate of beings, like Laura Creed, born out of human desire and technology, is also genuine. However, Duano's ultimate goal was revenge against Talia Gladys. It was a motive deeply personal at its core. Although the TV anime did not delve much into these details, they are expressively discussed in the novel version. Gilbert Duano and Talia Gladys were in a romantic relationship. However, coordinators, due to the complexity of their genes, had a high likelihood of being unable to have children. A system called marriage control was in place, allowing marriage only for those who, after genetic analysis, were found capable of having children. It was discovered through genetic analysis that Gilbert and Talia could not have children. Gilbert, despite knowing they couldn't have children, wished to spend his life with the woman he loved. However, Talia desired to have children and build a future with them. Thus, their love came to an end. The astute Gilbert did not lose his composure. He bid farewell to Talia with a smile and a handshake. At least, that was how he outwardly reacted. This match was depicted in the television anime. In the novel version, during the scene where Chairman Duano announces the Destiny Plan, Talia reminisces. Gilbert and Talia parting amicably with smiles and a handshake. At that moment, I failed to realize the depths of his despair. Maybe it was then that the distortion in his ideals began, fueled by hatred for a world that denied his own desires. These words might just be Talia's speculation, but there is a line in the novel that reveals Duano's feelings when he declares the implementation of the Destiny Plan. At this moment, he loudly proclaims his revenge against Talia's selfishness and the unjust fate. Gilbert Duano declared the implementation of the Destiny Plan out of personal hatred towards Talia Gladys. However, why did he so abruptly force the execution of the Destiny Plan? Observing his previous actions, he seemed to be manipulating the world through very meticulous planning. Most people around the world were unaware of Chairman Duano's schemes. Incidents like the theft of the new Gundam models, the terrorist red drop operation of Junior 7, and the chance recording of the event by Phantom Pain. Interestingly, in the novel version, there is no direct statement that Chairman Duano was behind these incidents. One of the few mentions is his sarcastic recollection about the Junior 7 drop, questioning if the terrorists really thought they could pull off such a major event on their own. Even this does not clarify the extent of his involvement in the plan. While Duano seemed to be orchestrating every event from the shadows, the reality of his actions was not clear to the viewers. This is why the earlier mentioned phrase about revenge against Talia's selfishness leaves such a strong impression. The text revenge against Talia is clearly stated. Now, back to why he pushed for the implementation of the Destiny Plan. It was because his term as the chairman of the Plan Supreme Council was nearing its end. The term of the Plan Supreme Council chairman is 1 year. Gilbert Duano became the chairman after the signing of the Junius Treaty. The exact date of his appointment is unknown, but the Junius Treaty was signed on March 10, Cosmic Era 72. The Gundam hijacking incident in the first episode of Sea Destiny occurred on October 2, Cosmic Era 73. Over a year had passed since the signing of the Junius Treaty, yet Duano appeared as the chairman. Perhaps he was re-elected, but no documents explaining this point were found. However, considering the 1-year term of the chairmanship, it's reasonable to assume he was re-elected. The exact date of the final battle in Sea Destiny is unknown. However, the attempted assassination of Lois Klein occurred in December, Cosmic Era 73. If Duano was re-elected as chairman in March of Cosmic Era 73, he would have had only about 4 months left in his term. Of course, there might have been a chance for further re-election, but considering that he did not have the authority to decide this alone, it seems very uncertain. So, did Chairman Duano have no contingency plan for his term limit? That was not the case. He had a very obedient and powerful collaborator. However, this collaborator probably didn't even realize he was in a cooperative relationship with Duano. His name was Lord Dibrio. Surviving Zaft's invasion of Orb, Dibrio acted to destroy France's capital Aurelius with the massive beam cannon Requiem. Chairman Duano was already aware of these actions. Knowing Dibrio's movements, Duano directed the warship maneuver into space. This was not to prevent the firing of Requiem. After Requiem was fired, the plan was to take control of the base, conscripting it into Duano's forces. Chairman Duano headed to the space fortress Messiah. Was this to fight against forces resisting the Destiny Plan? Of course, that was part of the reason, but not the only one. After all, Gilbert Duano knew that Dibrio intended to attack the Prant capital. The attack on the Prant capital using the beam cannon Requiem was executed. This resulted in the complete annihilation of the Prant Council's leadership residing in the capital. The only survivor was Gilbert, the hero who had been traversing battlefields to save the world. With the tragedy of the loss of the plant council and many civilians, people would inevitably desire the continuation of Gilbert's term as chairman. Amidst the enthusiastic applause of all, Gilbert Duano would gain privileges akin to emergency powers in wartime, and he likely intended to declare something like this: "As soon as the war ends, I will promptly relinquish these powers." It's a development very similar to the scene in Star Wars, where Chancellor Palpatine transforms into the Emperor of the Galactic Empire. However, his plan was thwarted. The plant capital, Aurelius, did not receive the beam cannon attacks thanks to Isaac Joule and his companions. Of course, the other colonies suffered tremendous damage. Chairman Duano, with a stern face, exclaimed, "What on earth is happening?" to those around him. At that moment, what were the feelings behind his angry expression? But having already announced the destiny plan, he could not afford to stop. He had to complete the plan, even if it meant using forceful measures, like using the Requiem storm from the Earth's Alliance to annihilate the neutral nation of Orb. This is why Gilbert Duano appeared as a very forceful and rash character in the final episodes of the television anime. In the final battle's climax, Duano is embraced by Talia and engulfed in flames. At this moment, he says, "I'm sorry, Talia, but I am glad." After these words, Duano shows a content and happy expression. And then, this sentence is written: "The past that she thought she had thrown away has now caught up with her and captured her." Gilbert Duano was portrayed as a loser in the final battle of Sea Destiny. But was he truly defeated? He achieved his purpose, wore a look of happiness, and disappeared into the flames. While Gilbert Duano set forth the grand goal of saving all humanity, it has become clear that he was ultimately driven by intensely personal emotions. This aspect is precisely what Char and Gilbert Duano have in common. Char faced Admiral Ray in their final battle in the movie Char's counterattack. He executed a plan to drop a meteor loaded with nuclear weapons on Earth, aiming to massacre the people living there. The damage to the Earth's environment would be severe, but the plan was based on the belief that this was a lesser evil than allowing humanity to continue warring and ultimately face extinction. Despite being tarnished with the infamy of mass slaughter, the plan was meant to prevent the extinction of humanity. There was no falsehood in Char's serious contemplation and execution of this plan. However, at heart, he desired a final showdown with his rival, Admiral Ray. It was Char who secretly passed the powerful new technology called the Psycho Frame to Admiral Ray. Char's wish was to fight and win against Admiral, both using mobile suits equipped with equally powerful Psycho Frames. In the end, Char is defeated by Admiral. Yet, enveloped in a mysterious light, he disappears alongside his greatest rival of a lifetime. Gilbert Duano is defeated in his battle against Hiro Yamato and others. However, he disappears into the flames, embraced by his beloved woman, Talia Gladys. Char resurrected in the cosmic era. It might not be wrong to refer to Gilbert Duano by such a name.